desk to WGLNA week number 1, day number 2. We just saw a match between Fulcrum and Bear Huggers where Fulcrum was able to take it 3-1. And of course, if you guys missed the beginning half of the day, in the very first match, we had Simplistic versus Nerve, where Nerve took it 3-0. And then we had Ermagerd Kerner-Vern take out Cunningham's 3-2. And that was a very exciting finish to the series because map number 5 on Ruinberg was especially exciting, Randall.
Oh, yeah. I was loving that whole series.
Yep,
that was really fun to watch. 3-2 shows both teams were so skilled, so capable. And I really want to know what all those teams were thinking, what was going through their heads at the time, what they were planning on doing, you know? And the way they felt about just how everything was going. Because it was... I was pretty...
Yeah, I definitely would like to be in that team speak because it seemed a little chaotic at times in terms of how teams were scrambling and responding to each other. Lots of cool split-second decision-making was happening in those matches. Again, I encourage you guys to watch it, and you can access our VODs through WGLNA.com. But we also teased throughout that match that we had Trouble2 playing in the back of the studio. Now, this is not the first time that he's visited us. We actually had the opportunity to sit down with him in the previous time with an interview, and after that, we're going to have a live interview with him. So check it out, this piece with Trouble2.
Hello everyone and welcome to Player Profile. I am Joshua Clutch Gray, and today joining me is a member of Ermagerd Kerner-Vern, one of the qualified teams, or EC for short. It is Stephen Butler, also known as Trouble2. Stephen, thank you for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
First of all, congratulations on qualifying. You are in the 16-team roster for league play. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings moving through the qualifier and now being set for league?
We're pretty pumped. We want to move in and we want to get $100,000. We really want to show that we can put things together and we can beat teams like Fulcrum, beat teams like River Blood, beat all the sim teams. I think it'll be fun.
What is it about World of Tanks that you find so exciting? What is it about the game that makes you want to keep playing?
I think Tanks has something special when you talk about the way the mechanics of the game work. Because it's not like a regular shooter where it's, oh, you shot the guy and he took this much damage. And what's important with World of Tanks is it doesn't matter where you shoot him. There's no headshots. There's no, shooting someone in the foot. You shoot them and they take a certain amount of damage, but you have to penetrate. And the way that the mechanics work, I'm actually very proud of. Being able to say, okay, here's a Tiger 2 and here's a Tiger 2. Here's a veteran player who knows how to control his tank and how to angle his tank, and here's one that's not. That means this Tiger 2 can actually technically come out of that fight without any damage. If he plays it right, if he micros perfectly, it's possible. And the idea of that is really cool. The idea that your micro can be so superb.
Let's talk a little bit more about you and your experience with World of Tanks. How were you first introduced to this game, and how did it evolve for you specifically of joining a team and now being involved in esports?
For me, I was introduced by a buddy of mine, Melshdan, and he just was like, hey, come over to the game, check it out. Actually, I was a dirty clicker for a very long time because I had a laptop. I didn't have a good computer. I was never a gamer really before then, so I just played on my laptop, and it was too laggy to play anything else, so I just played my little arties. My first real experience with a real clan, like a serious clan, was with Havoc. My first time actually running a team and building strats with Rookhill. And I'm sure if you get the opportunity to ask Rookhill, that was the best tournament we have ever played in. It was a tier 6 tournament on the worst map, Redshire, and we had so much fun. We had some of the best matches ever.
You talked about EC, you talked about how you guys kind of got your team name. Tommy Cannon pretty much said it's funny.
I was actually corrected on that.
Okay, so how did EC get their name?
It's from... So I have no idea what they meant by this, but it's an annoying girl named Mimi. I have no idea what that means.
From the Drew Carey show?
Possibly.
Okay.
I have no idea. That's just what Urtai told me. He yelled at me right after the last interview. He was like, oh, we got it from some annoying girl named Mimi. And I'm like, no idea what you're talking about, but I am with you.
So, all right. So, an annoying
so for
girl
anybody
named
who
Mimi.
understands that, good for you. I don't, and Urtai will probably yell at me about this one as well.
Thank you, Stephen. You guys can root for EC by watching the league play beginning July 11th, as they will be competing against 15 other teams for the total prize pool of $100,000, and the finals happening in Las Vegas August 17th and 18th. Stay tuned for more action for World of Tanks.
Great. Great job, Clutch, and thank you so much for that interview. And Clutch is also driving. Want to give a quick shout out. Trouble is also joined on. We're also joined on the set by Trouble. We want to get his thoughts about the match as well as what he thinks so far of WGL itself. So, Steve, I'm going to ask you first. What happened in that match, and what was your mindset going into the 5th game where you guys were down, or you guys were tied 2-2?
Well, really, once we got into the 5th match, we were a little bit worried at that point. That fast cap was a strat that I had been wanting to run for a while, putting the 1390s out front. Felt pretty confident once they picked Ruinberg North, and what happened happened.
I also want to point out to the match on Prokhorovka. You actually struggled a little bit to put on your patented aggression. In fact, it seemed like everything went wrong when you actually fell one of the first people to drop along with Gomes. Can you talk about what happened in that match and maybe what you guys did wrong?
Our biggest problem on Proc was I had told people before we'd gone in that they were bringing 1390s, so we had to kill the 1390s immediately, which was a mistake because the 1390s were in positions where it was hard to shoot them. So I don't know exactly how many shots were missed by our 69s, but there were a lot. So we didn't put out really any damage when we came over, and it killed us, and that was it.
Well, you guys definitely took on a pretty hard opponent, so good luck in the future match. Thank you so much, Steven, for joining, and I know that I'm supposed to be looking to my right, and you're sitting like 10 feet away from me, but thank you so much for joining us on the set, man.
Anytime. You know that.
All right, we'll hang out after this broadcast. Cool.